Okay, I think this should be live now. Let's just check here. Okay. Just check. Okay, seems everything's alright. If anybody could please just tell me in the chat if you can hear me correctly, if the music isn't too high, just to make sure everything's alright before we start. Yep. Perfect. Thanks so much, Jason. And I think we can start off now. Sorry for the minute of delay. Thank you so much. Okay, so this Philip, fine, perfect. Okay, so this stream is going to consist in basically how to optimize correctly any trading strategy. Okay, I've got two examples, two strategies that I've optimized, and we're going to see here basically what I've actually looked at to optimize. One is going to be basically one strategy that's got a normal take profit and stop loss, and another strategy is one that we're not using take profit or stop loss. Okay, so we basically can see how to optimize both using the exit optimizer and the analytics insight. So now we've got this clear, I am going to change the screen so we can see actually the first backtest. And as well, please, if anybody has got any questions, just leave them back down in the comments, okay? And we'll just read them out while I'm explaining, so we can do everything completely interactive. And as well, don't forget that we've got free giveaways, okay? So I'm going to be giving away free yearly subscriptions for Forex Tester Online, and that is, I think that is completely massive. There's more than $1,000 in value in just this stream's giveaway. So obviously, I'm going to give you 5 minutes so you can log in quickly into your Forex Tester account, so you can actually try and get that coupon. Okay, so whoever's faster is going to get the subscription. And as well, back down in the description, there is a 25% discount coupon. And just now we have a 20% discount. So basically you have a 45% discount in. That's for everybody. It's only going to be valid for today. And said this, hello everyone. Thanks everyone for joining in. Makes me really happy to see so many people. And let's start off. So this first strategy is one that I just wanted to try out. It's a bad strategy, just to show you as well the value that we give in the platform. So basically you can see you can optimize virtually any trading strategy. This is a bad strategy. Okay, it's a variation of my personal strategy that I use round numbers, the psychological levels. And basically what I do here is just enter by breakouts of the round numbers. Okay, but first of all, we need to understand just a little bit how the strategy works. And basically what I do is I measure the trend with the round numbers. So I don't even need candles. Okay, that's it as well. I use it as well in my personal strategy. And basically I use the round numbers to have a trend. Okay, so let's say this trade here, you can see that this is the last round number touch before we had this huge downtrend. Okay, so how do I know, or how do I predict we're going to have a downtrend? Well, basically I always look at the last round number that we've touched, that in this case is the top one, and I'm always going to go 1 and 2. So if the price breaks this round number here, it means that this uptrend that came up here has been broken. Okay, and then I'm going to enter a trade obviously for the downtrend and as well for the uptrend. So in this case, this is the last round number that was touched on this downtrend, and the price broke above this round number here. So now I'm going to consider it an uptrend. Okay, this is how I always, in my personal strategy as well, it's how I managed to see a trend without having any suggestible ways of seeing it, in terms of everybody's going to see the trend exactly the same. So I'm always going to look at the last round number that's touched, in this case this last one down here. If the price comes above here at this round number here, I'm going to buy. Okay, obviously this is not my personal strategy. Don't take this strategy to like as a good strategy, but it's a bad one that I want to use as an example so you can understand how we can optimize. So if the price comes up above here, I am going to buy, and if the price comes below here, I'm going to sell. Okay, that's just the example of how I see the trend and how I implement it in my personal trading strategy. So please, if there's any questions, anything that you need to or me to re-explain, just let me know. And just before we actually follow to the analytics, and just to give you an example, if I come here and I'll be entering a trade here. Okay, in this case, I'm only doing one trade a day because I'm on the London Open on the euro against the dollar. So I'll be basically waiting for price to come down here as we saw. So I'll be entering a trade more or less here. And I'll be adding a take profit and the stop loss. So I'll place your order there and just wait for the price. In this case, it hit the stop loss. And if it comes here above, I'll be breaking my trend. In this case, it hasn't. And I'll be waiting for the next one, the trade in this case in the downside. So it'll be here, so I'll be opening another trade here. Just an examples, just so you can see how this trading strategy was working. In this case, we can see it just popped off here. It didn't hit the take profit, and it went to the stop loss again. This is what I mean when I say it's actually a bad strategy, okay? Because obviously I've been trading round numbers for a couple of years now, and I got my own different strategies, and I know for granted that this one is absolutely bad. So how can we improve this strategy? If we don't change any core of the strategy, there's only one way to change it. And this is with the take profit, stop loss, and the time we keep the trades open. So if we don't want to change the actual core strategy because we feel comfortable about it, or basically just because we want it, then we've got to change these values. So the only way to actually optimize this is run thousands of different backtests to see basically how or which backtest gets better. Okay, and to do this, we would have to have a trading robot. To do it manually, we would have to run several backtests ourselves, and this is very time consuming. I mean, I had to do it in the past myself before I could actually learn how to program robots. And it's really time consuming. And this is one of the biggest features that Forex Tester Online has brought in recently. If we come to the analytics, we've got the analytics insight that we're going to touch as well in a minute, but we've got exit optimizer. And this, what it does is it's like having a trading robot backtesting these thousands of backtests on the background while you're doing your backtest. And it will give you the most optimal stop loss, take profit, and the max holding duration. That is basically how long should we hold the backtest, not the backtest, the trade when it's open. So if we move these parameters around, it can go like to 1.3 pips as a stop loss. Obviously, this is not a good idea, but we can take it up to 11.2 pips. This is always going to be a range between your take profit and stop loss if you're using it. So by doing this, I can select the best take profit and stop loss, and my net profit will be moving around. So this is a key point to actually optimize our strategy, because it's giving us the best values possible for the strategy we are using. Dana, can you filter analytics between symbols, or does it only show it all together? No, we can filter it by the assets, okay? So if we come to here, in this case it's only euro against the dollar, but if we have different symbols, we can add different, we can basically see the different symbols. If I'll be trading gold and the euro dollar, I would see both here, and it would separate these analytics. Perfect. Bro, please psychological levels in MQ5. In this case, I can't because we are Forex Tester Online. I don't actually have a robot that shows me the psychological levels in MQ5. In this case, these psychological levels are every 10 pips, okay? So just so you have a reference, in the euro against the dollar, the psychological levels that I'm using are every 10 pips. So basically, if you want to use it in the gold, these pips would change, and it would based on the round numbers. So in this case, in the euro against the dollar, it's double zeros. In the gold, it could be every $50 or every $10 or every $100, depending on how you want to do it. So let's continue with this, because this is the key point for optimizing this strategy. Because why? Because the analytics inside is giving me 5 points that I can improve. So first is try stopping for the day after the first loss to improve profits. Try capping the position when the position is below 0.25. Try to improve your strategy core profitability. But in this case, we don't want to change anything of the strategy because I know the strategy works, but only if it's got the correct parameters. So basically what we can do, if we don't have too many points to improve, we can come to the strengths because sometimes we can find some hidden gems here. Thank you so much. And basically we can check the trading news because sometimes we trade on some events and we haven't realized, and this can actually pour our result, as well as we can check the consecutive winners to see how this could improve, because sometimes if let's say I've got a trading strategy with an 80% win rate because I've got a negative risk reward, basically what this could do is that it can show me how many trades I should take until I double the position. So let's say I get a streak, every streak of 2 profited trades, the third trade I should double the position. It can tell us that as well. And as well, something that I really like to check out is, where is it? I know it's down here. It's down here. With the new update, it's come by here. Performance by session. Here I can basically see the trades that I've done on each session and how they have performed. So as you can see here, the best case in this case, because it's a really bad strategy, is the European session with minus $37, because the London Silver Bullet went from minus 76 and the New York Silver Bullet went to minus 100. So obviously in this case we're going to take the best worst case. So bro, when are you gonna add options to change points into pips for us gold traders? In this case, what I can say is I will send this straightly to the developer team and to see what they can do. Okay, in this case I'm not a developer, so I don't develop software, so I can't tell you exactly if there is any issue behind it or not, but I'm going to send this feedback straight to the developers so we can sort that out as soon as possible. In any case, the gold, what we can do is just measure it by points. I personally, most of the times I measure it in points because it's more reliable in terms of in different brokers, because we have in some brokers we can have 6 decimals, in others we can have 5 or 7, depends on the broker. We can have different ones and this can mess up the pips, but if we regulate by points, we always have the same exact result. So let's continue with the optimization for this strategy so you can see how I optimized it. And in this case, the stop loss, I'm not going to use any stop loss below 10 pips. Why? Because if I'm entering on the psychological level, it makes sense that the stop loss is going to be below at least of the next psychological level. Okay, because as we know, psychological levels act like support and resistance, and if it's below or above, it makes no sense. Okay, because it's going to snap our stop loss quite quick. So I'm going to leave, in this case, this here above. And this is all a small message that we don't have to take this exact result, because if you see here, there's a little white bar indicating that this is the best result. But this doesn't mean it's got to be the best result for your strategy, because if you're using your strategy for a long time, you're probably going to know more or less the best match that you can do. And I know personally that it makes more sense that stop loss being above 10 pips, in this case 11 pips. And as well, another thing that I know, that the take profit makes more sense to be below the actual 10 pips. Okay, because a lot of times we can see that the price doesn't actually go above this psychological level. So basically it makes more sense to have it just 1 or 2 or 3 pips below the psychological level, because we're going to get more take profits and we're going to increase the win rate. So basically what I have done just to optimize this strategy, just using the exit optimizer without actually going through the analytics in sight, is just changing the stop loss, the take profit and the max holding time. So if you just give me a minute, drink a bit of water, I'll explain you a bit about the max holding duration. And while I do this, I think it's time, just before we go into the max duration, I think it's time to drop a code in the comments. So let me just fetch the code here. I'll give you just 2 minutes so you can log into the Forex Tester account and be the quickest at getting this code. Okay, so just a promotional code, so you'd have to set it in the where it says promo code in the actual platform when you're going to purchase, and this is for yearly subscription. Okay, just so you got it all correctly. It's just going to give you 2 minutes before we actually start going forward on to show you the actual optimization of this backtest. So if you want to drop a comment when you are ready. The good thing is, just now there are 20 people watching us, so you're going to have a high chance that you're going to be the first one in getting this code. Hey, Cloud says, is it all AI optimization and advice? No, this isn't actually AI optimization, and it's a common thing that people think, basically because now we are in the era of AI optimization, and no, analytics insight isn't AI. Okay, this is actually developed by a professional algorithmic trader, and what he did is develop basically an algorithm that shows out the strengths and the actual points that we can improve of our strategy. So it's not actually driven by, it's driven by pure data. Okay, just to have that clear. Okay, I'm gonna drop the first code, so I hope everybody is ready. And just remember, add it into the promo code to actually get you your subscription. So here it goes. That's the first promo code of the yearly subscription. So good luck for everybody. And okay, mass zero, understandable. Okay, understandable. The problem with the points for gold is correct. Please check. 1,000 points is 100 pips, but for Forex Tester, 10,000 points is 100 pips. Okay, Massa, like I said, I will share this with the developer team so they can check it out, and hopefully we'll solve the issue. And maybe they have different, yeah, it could be as well. Like I say, it depends on the data provider. It can be more decimals or less decimals. So basically, the decimals are the numbers after the dot, the point. So 1 point, in this case 18,400, and depending on the provider, we can have more or less decimals. So that could be maybe that. May you please add weekdays indicators for Forex Tester Online. Okay, I will share that as well with the developer team, and hopefully maybe in the future updates we'll get it. Okay. So now we've got the code. Let's continue with the analytics. And like I said before, one of the key features of this is the actual max holding duration. Why? Because I'm sure this happened to you. You've held it, you trade for 1 hour, it's been in profit, it hasn't actually hit your take profit, and you sort of think, well, it's been an hour, I can see it consolidating, maybe I should close. And 30 minutes later, it's come back to you, and it probably ends hitting your stop loss. Well, this is what the max duration is going to solve, because it's going to tell you, it's basically going to take all the possibilities, all these backtests, and the peak of all these backtests, the peak of time where you've had the most profit on all the trades, it's going to combine it to give you this max duration. And as you can see, as I scroll it, in this case, for this trading strategy, the more I hold it, the worse it gets. In this case, 29 minutes is the maximum time that I should leave it, because I've got an impulse trading style. So if the price does a breakout and it doesn't hit the take profit by 29 minutes, then I should close the trades. So let's check out. Basically what I've done is I've left stop loss for the next backtest at 11 pips. The take profit, I've left it at 7.9, so 8 pips. And the max holding duration, I've left it at 29 minutes. And this is saying me that I'm going to give me a 70% win rate with a profit factor of 1.5. So to be honest, if this actually makes this trading strategy profitable, it's a win. So let's go and check out the other backtest. I will record it down here. And obviously the numbers are not going to be completely exact, because sometimes I can maybe add the sell stop. I can, instead of putting it right on here, I'm going to put it a few ticks above. Okay, and a few ticks here and a few ticks there. You can obviously change the actual final result. So just keep that in mind if it's not exactly the same. If we come down to the actual net profit, we can see that it made a total of, I can see it down here, $197 of profit. So it's turned it into profitable. And the only thing that I've done is that when I've had the next trade, so in this case we can see that this is the last run number touched, and we're going to enter a trade down here or trade above here. So if I go forward, we can see it came here. So I'm going to enter the trade here, the sell stop. And in this case, we can see I've added the take profit of 8 pips and 11 pips of stop loss. So if I place this order, you'll be able to see it hit the take profit. In this case, it would have hit the take profit in the even with a bigger take profit. But the idea is to increase the win rate based on reducing the take profit just a little bit. In this case, this doesn't apply for every strategy, because you've got to know your strategy and how you should apply it in the best way. But this obviously can only be said by experience. I know that normally the price will have some bounces before the actual round number, and obviously by doing this, I'm increasing the win rate here just because I know that it will bounce off before. But like I say, this depends on the strategy that you're using. That's why I wanted to explain it with 2 different strategies. And as well, if we come to check the win rate, we said it was a 70%, and the win rate came up to 63%. So basically it's got quite close. The little difference will be basically me backtesting again. That basically sometimes I can add the sell stop or the buy stop a bit above or a bit below. But you can see it's improved massively, because it was minus 600 and it's ended up being minus 200. So that's an 8% difference in a really small backtest. Okay, but now I want to mention something really important, and that is that we can't overfit the strategy. Okay, so now I've got this result. You could probably think, okay, I'll go back to the optimizer. So the exit optimizer, you can see here's a few more points to improve, and I can come to the exit optimizer, and okay, if I do these changes now, I'll get 355 instead of 200. But if we do this, what we're going to do is overfit the strategy for 1 lapse of time. Cloud says, what step does the optimizer use to find the optimal numbers? Can you set this step yourself? Not right now. We are going to add it in the future. But just now, what it does is it sets it more or less every 5 to pips. Okay, so basically depending on your stop loss and take profit. So if you're using a 10, like I was using now, it's going to go near these parameters. So basically you can see here, it goes from 7.6 to 18 pips. So it's going to go always in a close range of the stop loss or take profit you're using, if you're actually using it. If not, it will use a different or a wider range. So in this case, you can see that how my take profit was quite close. It's going more or less every 2 pips on this side. If we'll be using maybe a 30, 40, 50 pip stop loss, it would be more in the range of the 5, 6, 7 pips step. Okay, so that's more or less how it works. Depending on the average stop loss you had, it will calculate it on that way. Just drink some water. So what I was saying is that, so basically based on the actual trades on the step, yeah, exactly. Depending on the stop loss that you've got and take profit that you've actually set before, it will more or less fit in that range. And if it's got a profitable range, because as well it's something that normally it will always try to give you a profitable range. So let's say from 7.6 to 18 pips, we've got a profitable range. And this is important as well in terms of overfitting. Okay, because normally overfitted strategy would only perhaps maybe work on 18 pips, and if I bring it down to 16 pips, the profit will drop drastically. And this is as well a key point to find out if our strategy is overfitted. But the best way as well is, now we've got this set up, is to backtest this again, but in a different range of time. So if I backtested this in 2025, the optimal would be to backtest it now 3-4 months of 2026, or if we backtest it in 2024 in a complete year, backtest it in 3-4 months of 2025. Okay, it's more or less a ratio to 1 to 3. So if I do basically 100 trades, I need, or like in terms of optimization, I need at least 30-40 trades of forward test to actually consolidate this result. So yeah, this is the first strategy. Is there any questions about this? Please drop them back down in the comments before we move on to the next one. Has everybody got clear that how not to overfit? Because I prefer you to learn how to not overfit than than anything else, because it's a delicate thing. Overfitting is really easy. It can give you hopes that you shouldn't have, because at the end of the day, you can get a result, a really massive result that is completely overfitted, and when you take it to a live or you do a forward test, you're going to get completely negative results. Okay, so this is something that I want to leave really clear. Be aware of the overfitting and be happy. So now I want to take it to the next level. I don't want to show you how you can optimize a strategy that hasn't got any take profit or stop loss. It doesn't mean it's bad, and you'll be able to see the results by yourself. That is quite good strategy, but we can make it better. So let's come here, and it's this one here. Okay, so basically we're switching completely to a different trading style. The before was more an intraday scalping style. Now we're going to go to a more swing trading style, more chill. We don't have to be in front of the charts most of the time. We just need to leave the positions open, and we're going to use in the Bollinger Bands. Okay, so let's go to next London, and in this case I'm going to go next bar forward, and there we go. So how does this strategy work? You probably have some hints already by seeing these trades here. And we're going to use the Bollinger Bands, okay? And we can find them in indicators, and we must check that we are on the 20 period. Cloud, it would be cool to see the profit chart as it performs optimized. 100%, and that is another thing that I'm going to pass on to the developers. I think that's a great idea, basically, because by seeing the equity chart, it makes a lot of sense, because we'll be able to see how it's actually performed. Because as you know, it's super important to have a view on the equity chart, because we can have a lot of profit, but if that profit has been only in a short amount range and then it's been more or less in a break even, it's not worth using that strategy. So nice point there, Cloud. Thank you for that recommendation. I'll definitely drop it to the devs. And let's explain how this strategy works. It's really simple, but by being simple, it doesn't mean it's not effective. And the best part is it's got quite a lot of space for optimization. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to the end of every trading day. In this case, I live in Europe, so that normally occurs near midnight, just a bit before the rollover to Asian. And what we're going to do is we're just going to wait for that candle to close. So in this case, we're at right now at the close, and we can see that this candle closed nowhere, just closed in the middle. So I'm going to wait for the actual candle to close above or below the Bollinger Bands. So there we go. Price has closed, the candle, the daily candle has closed above this Bollinger Band. In this case, I'm in the euro against the dollar. Anybody had any questions? And what I'm going to do is, now the price has closed above, I'm going to sell. Super simple strategy. So let's enter the sell here with 0.1 lots and no stop loss and no take profit. So let's place this order there. And now what I'm going to wait is for the price to come down again and close below this Bollinger Band. Okay, so as you can see here, it's taking its time, and when it closes, I already know it's going to be in a loss. Okay, so now it's closed below. Bad trade, but no problem at all. So if we close this here, perfect. Now we'll wait for the next trade. In this case, it looks like it's going to close below. Perfect. We're going to open the second trade. Buy. And just wait for the price to come above, close above the Bollinger Band. So in this case, okay, close with just a small profit. And this is basically the strategy. You can see it's really simple. No stop loss, no take profit. And obviously this is dangerous, because if we don't lose any stop loss, at some time, we don't know when, it's going to blow their account. Okay, because if we get a really strong trend, it's just going to blow completely their account. And we're not interested in this. So it doesn't mean it's actually completely bad. We can use it, but we'll need to set a stop loss and a take profit. Okay, maybe not a take profit. Maybe we just need to have an emergency stop loss, because otherwise we are going to blow the account at some time. I mean, this backtest lasted 2 years. I didn't blow the account in 2 years, and it actually made me profit. But it doesn't mean that in the third year it cannot happen. So just be aware of that. And just so you could understand how the strategy works, I'm going to come back to analytics and show you how I improved the strategy. Because this time I did use analytics insight and the exit optimizer. So basically what we're going to do here is, first of all, we're going to check the points to improve. What do we have? Try keeping the risk below at 2% per trade. I can't do that because I don't have a stop loss. So we're going to go down to the next one. And we can see, consider cautiously increasing the position size after winning streaks. That makes sense because we have an 81% win rate. So that means basically I'm winning a lot of streaks of trades. So maybe I can improve the profit that way. But here comes the thing. If I'm not using the stop loss, at some point that is going to come against me. So basically, if I use this, I need to use a stop loss. And this is where the exit optimizer can actually kick in. And as well, try taking breaks after losing trades. Try using stop losses on every trade, thank you, to manage risk. And try using time-based exit rules or trailing stops. Guess what? That's what we got on the exit optimizer. And one thing that I like to do is only use 1 or 2 recommendations from the actually analytics insight to not make it too complicated, okay? Because sometimes we can mix too many things and that can mess up the strategy as well. So what I'm going to do, for me that makes more sense, is considerably increase the position size after the winning streaks. If I click in, I can see the actual improvements here. It's saying that the best improvement is a 66% over my net profit, and it's ×2 until the drop after 2 wins. So when I get 2 winning trades in a row, the third trade I'm going to double the lot size. Makes sense. So now we got this. I'm not going to take any more from here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the exit optimizer. And if you remember, I said that this strategy doesn't use stop loss or take profit. But the exit optimizer has got one ready for me, because while I was doing the backtest, it was running these several backtests behind to test it out. And the good thing, and I want to point out, that this isn't on any other trading platform, okay? On, in this case, any backtesting platform. We can't find it anywhere. And that, I think it's a huge value that we give into every single trader, because this saves you hours and hours and hours. Even if you've got a trading robot, running optimizations on tick data can take up to 40, 50 hours to actually get a result. So just bearing that in mind. Let's see what stop loss, what take profit, and what max holding duration we can use. So one thing that I want to show out is that how we don't use take profits, we don't know what take profit would be the best, okay? And if I come down here, I can see that the average profit trade is $106. If I use 445 pips, that would be more or less $445, because I'm using a 0.1 lot. What this will mean is that if I use this take profit, I'm going to lose win rate, okay? Because basically, this is suggesting me to use a risk reward of 1 to 4. But I don't want to lose win rate, because otherwise, using this, it makes no sense, because I won't have these long streaks, or basically winning streaks. So I don't want to lose win rate, but I do want to protect the positions. So if I come back down again, I can see that the average loss is 132. So this makes sense, basically, if we look at the stop loss that the optimizer has given me, because it says 112. So it makes more or less sense to be able to use this. And if I scroll this round, I'll be able to see that if I take it below, the net profit drops. But if I bring it above, then it more or less settles in that range of 1,500 and 1,400. So what I did is basically leave it more or less at 112 pips of stop loss. So this way I'm protected, and more or less I'm getting a risk reward of 1 to 1, but maintaining a nice win rate. And that's more or less how I thought through to optimize the strategy. In this case, the max holding duration. I tested it, but I didn't actually find a good matching result, because at the end of the day, how I've got a stop loss, I'm not going to be too worried about it. But just so you can more or less check the metrics of this one, this strategy, even not having a stop loss, gave a really good result. I mean, we're talking about a 3.35 profit factor, and that is huge. And we're talking about a 2-year backtest. And I mean, obviously, there aren't so many trades because we are on the daily time frame, but it's still quite huge to have a 3.35 profit factor. But the best thing is that we can even improve this. So now if we look at the drawdown, it was 351. That, to be honest, is not bad for actually not going with any stop loss. So this basically what it's saying is that the max drawdown was more or less 350 pips on the euro dollar. That obviously 350 pips in the euro dollar is quite a lot. I mean, in terms of movement, and it doesn't happen usually. So I'm quite happy to use no max duration, not use the take profit, because I want to continue closing it on these Bollinger Bands, because I think the core of the strategy is great. But I want to use a stop loss, because basically I want to protect myself in the long game, because that's basically what we've got to do. So let's check out, by just implementing this, let's see how this backtest perform. And I've got it just around here, and instead of having 1,500 or 15% profit, I lifted it to a 25% profit. And this is massive, because I didn't have to spend days backtesting and optimizing. I just used the analytics inside and the exit optimizer. So just think for a moment how you could approach this with your own trading strategy, because guess what? We're going to drop another code. What do you think about it? Let's drop another code, because I see that you must be excited for this. And before we go through the actual results and see how it actually improved, I think it's time for another one so anybody can win a yearly subscription for Forex Tester Online. And as well, if you don't get it, remember as well, you got a total of a 45% discount code right down in the description. So drinks a bit of water. After using this workflow, how did you approach to strategy development change? Basically, it's something as well that we must have experience backtesting and optimizing any strategy. And once I saw what could improve this strategy, it's basically by knowing the strategy. I mean, it sounds a bit silly, but it's how it works. Basically, if I've got a strategy that's got a big win rate and analytics insight tells me that I can have an edge on this, then if I lose the win rate, it's going to mess up the analytics insight. That's why I don't like to use too many points to improve in one go, and I like to use one. And as well, if I come down to Exit Optimizer and I can match these two results, I'm going to get a better result. Okay, so basically, if I got the consider increase in the position size after winning streaks, if I can combine this with the Exit Optimizer, it's going to do a good match. And I can do this by having a stop loss. Because obviously, if I increase this, let's say I've got a winning streak of 5 trades. The first 2, I've got the normal lot size. And the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, I have doubled the position. Okay? So this has made me a lot more profit. Instead of a 5%, if I'll be aiming for a 5%, it would make me a 2% the first 2, and it would be 2, 4, 6, and 8% instead of a 5%. But what happens if I lose a trade? I only lose the first trade with the double position, and then I'll only be losing the if I go, let's say, in a losing streak, and I'll be losing only 1% instead of the 2%. So when I get a winning streak, and I'm going to have winning streaks because I have an 80% win rate, I am going to get more profit. But when I get a losing streak, this is not going to be affected. But obviously, to apply this, I need a stop loss. And by selecting the best stop loss is basically looking at the average profit. I can see that the average profit is okay. So then I'm going to come to the Exit Optimizer and select the stop loss that more or less matches with that take profit. Obviously, like I say, you need a bit of experience in terms of trading, because somebody that's just started, he can guide himself through this, and it's going to help him learn a lot faster in terms of what I maybe had to learn in 1 year. He could learn it in 1 month, okay, by just using this, because it'll be a lot easier to understand. So that's more or less how I develop the change in that terms. But obviously, this is as well personal, and everybody's going to develop changes in a different way. But that's a good thing that here we've got different options to develop it. And as well with the Exit Optimizer, it's a piece of cake to actually, anybody could actually develop a new way of approaching a trading strategy. But let's go with the next code, because I said I was going to launch it, and I'm going to launch it. Everybody should be ready now to actually use this code. So I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. And good luck for everyone. So there we go. And just remember as well, you got the 45% discount right in the description. And please, if you've actually managed to get your yearly subscription, drop it back down in the comments, just to know you've actually got it. It'll make me really, really happy. And let's actually look at the performance. Before we had a profit factor of 3.5. Now we have lifted that profit factor to 4.98. Why? Because we still have an 83% win rate, but we have an average of a risk reward of a 1-to-1. And if you've been trading for a time, you know this is completely massive, because normally strategy with a risk reward of a 1-to-1, the average win rate is 55-60%. Okay, my personal strategy that I've been using for a long time has between 70 and a 65% win rate, and that already is completely massive, and it's made me earn a lot of money in the market. But before that, before I actually refined my strategy, I was sitting on a 55% win rate with a risk reward of 1-to-1, and it still made me money. And this has got now an 83% win rate with a risk reward of 1-to-1. And the best part is that the drawdown stays exactly the same, but we're using an actual stop loss. And I think if you've been trading for a time, you will know that this is completely massive, and it's out of the moon. Here you can see all the nice equity curve with just this drawdown here, and completely recovered again, and this more or less stayed in break even for the last trades. Like I say again, we could now re-improve this, but would be sitting on the risk of overfitting, and that's what we don't want to do. So basically, we always... I'm in fact impressed with the optimizer. If the numbers it gives you don't lie and the suggestions are calculated correct, well, that's a huge turn in discretional trading, backtesting. Exactly. And this is a really big key point, because normally for manual traders and discretional traders especially, you can't measure it. There's no way of measuring it, because you can't turn it into a robot, so you can't actually measure the take profit, the stop loss, and what's more, the most optimal. There's no way. And by doing this, you will get an optimal take profit and stop loss, even if you're not using a fixed take profit or stop loss. You saw here I wasn't using any take profit or stop loss, and it gave me an optimization that actually worked better. But even if you're using smart money, it's going to help you out, because it's going to give you a range of stop loss that actually works. So let's say if you're using smart money and your range is 5 to 15 pips stop loss, and maybe if the stop loss is above 10 pips, tend to go worse, and you'll be able to find this just by scrolling through your stop loss, and you'll be able to see which one is going to give you better results. And if above 15 pips is worse or better, or maybe 20 pips is a holy grail of stop loss for your trading strategy, you'll never know. But with this, you'll be able to know it. And the best part is, it does it while you're doing the backtest. So at the end of the day, you don't have to do any extra effort. You don't have to do any more backtest. You just have to do another backtest to confirm this works, and that's it. And I think that is massive, and I really hope everybody that's here can actually appreciate it, because guys, this makes trading a lot easier. And believe me, because I've used it personally on my trading strategy, and I've used it to improve it, and it has worked. Okay, and even that, it's obviously, it's Forex Tester saying Forex Tester is good, but I personally wouldn't be here. Okay, because if I wouldn't believe in this product, and I wouldn't believe that this actually works, I wouldn't be here, because obviously it's my face that's exposed here, and I wouldn't be here telling to you, try this out, because this is massive. So please, obviously, always take it carefully, because you know that the past results don't guarantee the future, but this will help out a lot to reduce any guessing in the trading, and it's all data driven. So just quick view through the results as well. Like I said, we got the 83% win rate. It's massive, with a risk reward of 1-to-1. You can see it here. The average profit and the average, let's see, the average profit and the average loss to a 1-to-1, and we got an 83% win rate. Completely out of the box. Obviously, we need a bigger amount of trades, because this is based on 23 trades, because obviously it's 2 years of backtesting. But 23 trades. The best we can do is have a minimum of 100, 200 trades, okay, for this to give you an even better result, a more optimal or more precise result. And then drive another 100 trades. If you've done 200 trades for the actual optimization, another 180 trades, like more or less I would say 60 to 80 trades in forward test to basically match and see if it's getting a result, and that this optimization that you've tried here works here. Okay, that's basically what I do with all the trading strategies. And I've got a great idea to test the Axiom optimizer on high impact news. I would love to know that. I would love to know that, how that works. And really, this is the gross mode, how to optimize any trading strategy with the Exit Optimizer, with analytics inside. Obviously, everybody can trade it in a different way. You can optimize it in a different way. And I'd love to know if you've got any questions that you'd like me to answer. It can be from anything. It can be from basically the optimizer, or if you've got any general questions about trading, about anything, this is the moment. And in a few minutes, I'll give you the last €1 subscription code. And if you've actually won the first two, I would love to know it back down in the comments if you want to drop it there. I would love to know who won it. Because we're talking about 1 complete year for free of subscription. I mean, that's I think it's great value that we've gave out today. And as well, the 45% discount that we've got in total right there in the description, I think that is massive as well. And please, if you have any questions, I'm going to leave 2-3 minutes. If anybody wants to ask anything, it can be anything related to trading. Either way, let me just check this out here. What have we got? Have you tried trading stops on your trades? Obviously, yeah. I tried trailing stops, closing by time, any type of break even. And personally, I don't tend to use too much trailing stops because I think it struggles too much when you got an open position. For some trades, it does work, but when I mostly use trailing stops, and I actually use it on my personal strategy, is that when the price approaches X amount of pips, I reduce the stop loss, but I don't actually do a trailing stop that I actually follows the position. What I tend to do is just move it X amount. So let's say price moves 50 pips into profit and my stop loss was 50 pips. Then I move it to 25 pips. So I reduce that stop loss. And basically if it comes back down, no problem. I've lost only half of the position that I originally was willing to risk. How long the code 25 will be valid? It will be valid for today. So if you want to use it now, because In a couple of hours, it will disappear. It's exclusive for this stream, as well as the free codes that we were giving. By the way, I saw analytics by sessions. Yeah, we've got them right down here. Okay, where are they? Okay, not enough that. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm not trading daily candles. It's not going to give me any performance by session here. Yeah, you can actually, if you come to the chart, you can see basically, if we come to indicators and come to adaptive, we've got trading sessions. Okay, so basically we'll find all the trading sessions here, Asia, London, and New York, and we can add a custom session here as well with the time we basically want to trade on. So I tend to use this as well, especially if I work in a range of 4 hours after the New York Open. I would set this to actually so it appears here, or can you just use the actual ranges? So if I apply here and come to a lower time frame, otherwise I'm not going to see anything. You can see here that it applies correctly. So there you go. We've got Asian, London, and New York. And as well, we've got the go-to functions that we can go to the London, the New York, the Asian, silver bullet session, and even a custom session if you want to save any time. This for me is one of the key points to save time when we're actually backtesting. And another thing as well, that we can actually go to the open or the close session of each London, New York, Asian, whatever session, as well as the next day open, next week open, next month open, historical moments. I mean, we can just jump to any and it will basically straight go over. And another cool thing as well, that if we actually open a buy here and I set my stop loss just below here, my take profit above here, and I could either scroll through the chart waiting for it to take profit or stop loss, or I could just double click here, go to order close, and it'll go straight to the take profit or stop loss. And this, believe me, saves a lot of time, especially when we've like got big targets like 100, 200 pips, like more in terms of swing trading. This can save you a lot of time. So, big question. Are you ready for this last coupon? I want to see it in the chat. I want to see in the chat if everybody is ready for this last free coupon for a €1 subscription of Forex Tester Online. And by the way, while you're here, it would be nice if you subscribe to the channel. I mean, just think about it. It's me, you, some trading content. What else you want? So guys, are you ready or not for this nice coupon? Are you ready or not? Please tell me. I want to see it in the chat. Are you ready for this last coupon? Forever's faster in the Forex Tester Online webpage? Yes. Jason says yes. Everything, let's go. Come on. Too sad. I paid my lifetime sub several months ago. Oh, Cloud. Oh my god. But hey, you got a lifetime. And you know what? Every month we're getting new features out, like the exit optimizer, the analytics insight, and I can't tell it here, but the developers are cooking some cool things that you guys are going to love. I can't say what it is, otherwise they're going to cut me off, but I tell you, they are incredible. Okay, So keep hype for that, because I tell you they're going to be really, really good. So Cloud, even if you got your lifetime and you could have got this free subscription, don't be sad, because what's coming is massive. I tell you. I tell you. So, okay. Let's start off with this last coupon. Forever's Faster. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. In 3, 2, 1. There you go. Last 1 year subscription that we're giving out in this stream. And please subscribe to the channel, because we are going to have more live streams. And there's going to be some more gifts there. So, hey, the subscription is completely free. And you might get a free subscription for Forex Tester Online for a year, for a yearly subscription. Not 1 month, not 2, not 3. We want you to have 1 year free subscription, so you can improve your trading strategy with Analytics Insight, with the Exit Optimizer, and with all the new cool features that are coming out. And don't remember the 25% discount coupon that you got just below. Code 25web. Applied to already the 20% discount that we've got in our webpage. 45% discount, half price. Good chance. And it's only available for today. So don't miss that out. If you were thinking of buying any type of subscription, use the coupon. And if you've been lucky, you got it for free. So guys, we're coming up for 1 hour. It's been incredible for me. Really loved it. Really loved to chat with you, with all of you. And obviously, like I said, there's going to be more streams incoming with more giveaways, more presents, and more opportunities to get Forex Tester Online for a cheaper price. Because basically what we want in the deep of our heart is for you to improve your trading strategy and stop losing money on the markets. That is what me and the team wants. And that's what we're going to achieve. That's what we're going to achieve, because we're going to get bigger and bigger and better features. You'll see in the future. I can't tell anything now. I would love to tell you, but I can't tell you right now. But we are going to get it. So I hope you've enjoyed this stream. If you have any questions, now is the moment. We're going to be closing the stream in a couple of minutes. So if you've got any questions, drop them down there. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 more minutes, just in case you're typing the question. I don't want to cut you off. And if not, I think this is a good ending. I hope you've all enjoyed yourself in the stream. I hope you've learned a bit more. And obviously this will be uploaded to YouTube. So if you have any more questions or you want to ask anything, you can still drop it back down in the comments. I'll be reading every single comment and obviously help you out in whatever I can. Okay, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Thanks for joining. I hope we can do another stream soon. Give more giveaways, more presents for all you guys. Thanks to all the Forex Tester team for making this possible. Without them, basically we couldn't be here. Thanks to all the devs, everybody in marketing, great people. And obviously, thanks to all your guys, because without you guys, this wouldn't be possible either. And what else can I say? I'll see you in the next video, because I'll be uploading a video very soon. Especially focus on the exit optimizer if you still had any doubts. And guys, hope you have a nice week. Hope trading has been going well. And I'll see you, as always, next time.